42 The teachings of the Lord of the Second Coming. Section 2 The providence of restoration in Noah's family. Cain killed Abel, thereby preventing the providence of restoration in Adam's family from being accomplished. Nevertheless, God had predestined absolutely the fulfillment of the purpose of creation, and his will remained unchangeable. Hence, upon the foundation of the loyal heart, which Abel demonstrated toward heaven, God chose Seth in his place. 21 From among Seth's descendants, God chose Noah's family to substitute for Adam's family, and commenced a new chapter in his providence. It is written that God judged the world by the flood. And God said to Noah, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth. 22 This shows us that Noah's time was the last days. God intended to accomplish the purpose of creation after the flood judgment by sending the Messiah upon the foundation laid by Noah's family. For this reason, Noah's family was responsible to fulfill the indemnity condition, to restore the foundation of faith, and then the indemnity condition to restore the foundation of substance. They were to restore through indemnity the foundation for the Messiah, which Adam's family had failed to lay. 2.1 The foundation of faith. 2.1.1 The central figure for the foundation of faith. In the providence of restoration through Noah's family, Noah was the central figure to restore the foundation of faith. God called Noah 10 generations or 1600 biblical years after Adam for the purpose of fulfilling the will, which he had intended to realize through Adam. Accordingly, God bestowed his blessings upon Noah. Be fruitful and multiply. 23. Much as earlier he had bestowed the 3 great blessings upon Adam. 24 In this sense, Noah was the second ancestor of humanity. Noah was called when the earth was filled with violence. 25 Enduring all kinds of derision and mockery, he worked for 120 years on a mountain to build the ark in absolute obedience to God's instructions. Upon this condition of faith, God could bring on the flood judgment centered on Noah's family. In this sense, Noah was the first father of faith. Although we commonly regard Abraham as the father of faith, in fact, Noah was to have had that honor. As we shall see, it was due to his son Ham's sinful act that the mission of the father of faith was transferred from Noah to Abraham. In the case of Adam, it was explained that, although he should have been the central figure to restore the foundation of faith, he could not offer the sacrifice himself. Noah's situation was different. He was called by God upon the foundation of Abel's loyal and faithful heart. In making an acceptable symbolic offering, in regard to his lineage, Noah was a descendant of Seth, who had been chosen to replace Abel. Furthermore, Noah was a righteous man in the sight of God. 26 For these reasons, he was qualified to make the symbolic offering to God by building the ark. 2.1.2 The object for the condition. In restoring the foundation of faith, the object for the condition by which Noah was to restore the foundation of faith was the ark. The ark was full of symbolic significance. Before Noah could stand in place of Adam as the second human ancestor, he first had to make an indemnity condition for the restoration of the cosmos, which had been lost to Satan due to Adam's fall. Hence, the object for this condition, which Noah had to offer in an acceptable manner, should symbolize the new cosmos. He offered the ark as this object. The ark was built with 3 decks, symbolizing the cosmos, which had been created through the 3 stages of the growing period. The 8 members of Noah's family who entered the ark represented the 8 members of Adam's family, who, having been invaded by Satan, had to be restored through indemnity. Thus, the ark symbolized the cosmos. Noah, its master, symbolized God. The members of his family symbolized humanity, and the animals brought into the ark symbolized the entire natural world. After the ark was completed, God judged the world with the flood for 40 days. What was the purpose of the flood? According to the principle of creation, human beings were created to serve only one master. Since humankind was under bondage to Satan, full of corruption and debauchery, for God to relate with them, he would have to assume the position of a second master. That would be unprincipled. Therefore, God brought about the flood judgment, eliminating sinful humanity in order to raise up a family who would relate only with him. Why did God choose a 40-day period for the flood? The significance of the 40-day period should be understood in terms of the meaning of the numbers 4 and 10. The number 10 signifies unity. 27 It was 10 generations after Adam, when God called upon Noah to restore through indemnity the will, which he could not fulfill through Adam. By fulfilling a period of indemnity containing the number 10, God meant to bring the dispensation back into unity with his will. Furthermore, since the goal of restoration is to complete the 4-position foundation, God worked to raise up each of these 10 generations by setting up an indemnity period to restore the number 4. In total, the period from Adam to Noah was an indemnity period to restore the number 40, due to the lustfulness of the people of those days. However, this indemnity period of the number 40 was defiled by Satan. The dispensation of Noah's Ark was God's new attempt to complete the 4-position foundation. Therefore, God set the period of the flood judgment at 40 days as the indemnity period to restore the number 40, which had been defiled when the earlier period was lost to Satan. By fulfilling this numerical period of indemnity, God intended to restore the foundation of faith. The number 40 thus became characteristic of dispensations for the separation of Satan, which are necessary for restoring the foundation of faith. There are many examples of this Noah's 40-day flood, the 400 years from Noah to Abraham, the Israelites' 400 years of slavery in Egypt, Moses's 2 40-day fasts, the 40 days of spying in Canaan, the Israelites' 40 years of wandering in the wilderness, the 40-year reigns of King Saul, King David and King Solomon, Elijah's 40-day fast, Jonah's prophecy that Nineveh would be destroyed in 40 days, Jesus' 40-day fast and prayer in the wilderness, and the 40-day period from Jesus' resurrection to his ascension. In the Bible we read that at the end of 40 days of rain, Noah sent forth from the ark a raven and a dove. 28 Let us examine what future providential situations this foreshadowed, as it is written, "Surely the Lord God does nothing without revealing his secret to his servants the prophets." 29 By building the ark and passing through the 40-day flood judgment, Noah fulfilled an indemnity condition for the restoration of the cosmos. The flood corresponds to the period of chaos before the creation of the universe, when the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the waters. 30 Accordingly, the works which God performed around the ark at the end of the 40-day flood symbolized the entire course of history following God's creation of heaven and earth. What was foreshadowed when Noah sent forth the raven, which circled about looking for a place to land until the waters subsided? It signified that Satan would be looking for a condition through which he could invade Noah's family. Just as the archangel vied for Eve's love soon after the creation of human beings, and just as Satan couched at the door, looking for an opportunity to invade the offerings of Cain and Abel. 31. What was foreshadowed when Noah sent forth the dove 3 times? Although it is written in the Bible that Noah sent out the dove to see if the water had subsided, that was not its only purpose. Certainly Noah could have looked out the opening from which he set forth the dove to examine the situation for himself. The sending forth of the dove had a deeper significance connected with the mysterious will of God. 7 days after God proclaimed the flood judgment through Noah, the flood began. 40 days later, the dove was first sent out. It flew about but then returned to the ark because it found no place to land, and Noah took it back inside. 33 The dove, when it was sent out the first time, represented the first Adam. God created Adam with the hope that his ideal of creation, which he had cherished from before time, would be realized in Adam as the perfect incarnation of the divine ideal on earth. Due to Adam's fall, however, God could not realize the divine ideal on earth through him. God thus had to withdraw his ideal from the earth for a time, and postpone its fulfillment to a later date. 7 days later, Noah sent forth the dove a second time. Still the water had not yet dried, and again the dove returned. This time it carried in its mouth an olive leaf, indicating that there would be a place for it to land the next time. 34 The dove, when it was sent out the second time, symbolized Jesus, the second Adam, whose coming would be God's second attempt to realize the perfect incarnation of the divine ideal on the earth. These verses foreshadowed that if the chosen people were to disbelieve, in Jesus at his coming, then he would have nowhere to lay his head. 35. And thus would not be able to realize God's complete will on the earth. In that situation, Jesus would have to go to the cross and return to God's bosom, leaving behind the promise of the second advent. The dove returned to the ark because the water had not yet dried up. By analogy, had more of the Jewish people faithfully attended Jesus, he would have found a secure place to stand among them. He would not have been crucified, and would have gone on to build the kingdom of heaven on earth. After another